Hi, today I have a reading for you from A Course in Miracles. This is Chapter 9, The Acceptance of the Atonement, and Section 3, The Correction of Error. Okay, Paragraph 1. The alertness of the ego to the errors of other egos is not the kind of vigilance the Holy Spirit would have you maintain. Egos are critical in terms of the kind of sense they stand for. They understand this kind of sense because it is sensible to them. To the Holy Spirit, it makes no sense at all. So I'm being given the chance to go really deeply into this in all of my relationships and understand that I don't know. I can't evaluate it. I kind of want to say I really hadn't gone very far at all, or now it's time to really see this. But where I'm focused here is the alertness of the ego to the errors of other egos is not the kind of vigilance the Holy Spirit would have you maintain. Because my ego isn't real, your ego isn't real. And if I'm analyzing and processing the errors of these egos, I'm going to keep myself in hell with you, which would be a bad idea. So as much as we seem to have learned, every day we get to see a little more deeply and understand the ego doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make 1% sense. It seems to. And so what do we have without the sense the ego is trying to make of itself, what it calls itself, what it calls others? We have guidance. So it steps into the foreground how much I need to transfer my reliance on ego ideas to just the guidance that's here for everybody. Okay, paragraph 2. To the ego, it is kind and right and good to point out errors and correct them. This makes perfect sense to the ego, which is unaware of what errors are and what correction is. Errors are of the ego, and correction of errors lies in the relinquishment of the ego. When you correct a brother, you are telling him that he is wrong. He may be making no sense at the time, and it is certain that if he is speaking from the ego, he will not be making sense. But your task is still to tell him he is right. You do not tell him this verbally if he is speaking foolishly. He needs correction at another level, because his error is at another level. He is still right, because he is a son of God. His ego is always wrong, no matter what it says or does. So the ego's the doer, the ego's the surface we perceive on the being that seems to be saying and doing. So this really takes us deep. So going back to when you correct a brother, you are telling him that he is wrong. So what I am is right, an inner rightness that has never gone wrong. And it's joined with your inner rightness, and not being right in terms of the ego, like I'm right and you're wrong. But the inner rightness we are is an inner rightness that can never truly be contradicted. However, we have imagined a contradiction to our shared inner rightness in the form of ego. And man, is it tricky. It's tricky. And the vigilance the Holy Spirit would have us maintain is our awareness of when we've been tricked into judging a brother as wrong. So then we can drop the idea the ego gave us and go within for guidance. We never know what guidance it's going to give us. And I find it, keeps me very humble, like learning how to follow guidance. The only way I learn how is by dropping the idea the ego is giving me and pausing for a moment, knowing that I don't know, and seeing what comes into that space. Just over and over and over again, very simply, not laying claim to a guidance no one else has, just knowing guidance is here for all of us all the time. And what I can do from here is do my best to set down the reliance on ego, turn inward, and see what comes. And none of that involves evaluating my behavior or another's behavior, or comparing my behavior to another's behavior, or taking another's behavior and comparing that to anything else. None of that involves that. Okay. Paragraph 3. If you point out the errors of your brother's ego, you must be seeing through yours, because the Holy Spirit does not perceive his errors. This must be true, since there is no communication between the ego and the Holy Spirit. The ego makes no sense, and the Holy Spirit does not attempt to understand anything that arises from it. Since he does not understand it, he does not judge it, knowing that nothing the ego makes means anything. Again, that goes so deep if we really take that in. Nothing the ego makes means anything. Think of the burden from which we can all be released. So back to, if you point out the errors of your brother's ego, even just in thought, maybe I'm holding back, but in thought it's blaring in my mind loud and clear, an analysis of my brother's errors. So if you point out the errors of your brother's ego, you must be seeing through yours. That's the cause of unhappiness, seeing through my ego. Because the Holy Spirit does not perceive his errors. So if we think of the Holy Spirit looking upon our divine siblings, our brothers and sisters, and not perceiving errors, what does the Holy Spirit perceive? Or see, really, with vision? The Christ within, the inner rightness joined in all of us. And that's not a right versus wrong. That's not our words being right or wrong. This isn't about anything the ego made. It's just what we are. That's what the Holy Spirit is aware of and sees. And that's what we're being invited to focus on, past anything the ego would tell us. And as we learn to focus inward toward that inner rightness we all share, then guidance is allowed to make itself obvious, and then what seems to be the saying and doing of this character can flow without conflict, without any trouble. Okay. Paragraph 4. When you react at all to errors, you are not listening to the Holy Spirit. He has merely disregarded them, and if you attend to them, you are not hearing him. I just can't emphasize how important this is to me. What a good and appropriate teaching this is for me in my daily life right now. Okay. If you do not hear him, you are listening to your ego and making as little sense as the brother whose errors you perceive. This cannot be correction, yet it is more than merely a lack of correction for him. It is the giving up of correction in yourself. So going back to the Holy Spirit has merely disregarded errors. And if you attend to errors, you are not hearing Holy Spirit. So it's like I have one job, and it's not to analyze errors. And analyzing errors is deeply habituated. That's what the ego's all about, right? That's what the ego's going to keep telling us and keep telling us and keep telling us. But we have the opportunity to disregard errors like the Holy Spirit. Because if we pay attention to our fantasy, our illusion of errors and those we call other, we're not hearing Holy Spirit. And Holy Spirit is always here to hear. So here's my opportunity today. Okay, paragraph 5. When a brother behaves insanely, you can heal him only by perceiving the sanity in him. If you perceive his errors and accept them, you are accepting yours. If you want to give yours over to the Holy Spirit, you must do this with his. Unless this becomes the way in which you handle all errors, you cannot understand how all errors are undone. How is this different from telling you that what you teach, you learn? Your brother is as right as you are. And if you think he is wrong, you are condemning yourself. So it's not about analyzing the rightness of words or actions, but we all share the same inner rightness, or we all share the same inner light, or we all share the same inner perfection. And it is safe to put our attention there because everything can flow from that. So what really got my attention here is when a brother behaves insanely, you can heal him only by perceiving the sanity in him. And if we think of all brothers near or far and really committing to perceiving the sanity in all of them, because sanity is the truth of what our beings share. Forget the persons, forget the saying, forget the doing of all the persons. You're a being, and as a being, you can't not be deeply sane. Beingness is deeply sane. All beings are deeply sane. The insanity is an illusion I myself layered upon the true rightness and joined nature of being. And so I can always perceive the sanity in anyone. And to the ego, this is madness. But as we begin to wake up to what we've been up to, this is the only way through and out. Stopping to acknowledge our shared sanity and letting everything else be delivered to us from there. First, I stop to acknowledge our shared sanity and the fact that everything layered on top of that is an illusion that I wanted to see. And from there, I know I need the atonement, the remedy that wipes away the illusion I made up. That's what I need. And then the real solution to all perceived problems is allowed to come in. Okay, paragraph 6. You cannot correct yourself. Is it possible then for you to correct another? Yet you can see him truly, because it is possible for you to see yourself truly. It is not up to you to change your brother, but merely to accept him as he is. His errors do not come from the truth that is in him, and only this truth is yours. His errors cannot change this, and can have no effect at all on the truth in you. To perceive errors in anyone and to react to them as if they were real is to make them real to you. You will not escape paying the price for this, not because you are being punished for it, but because you are following the wrong guide and will therefore lose your way. Okay, so we definitely want to follow the right guide that points to the joined inner rightness in all of us. So going back to his errors, our brother's errors, do not come from the truth that is in him, and only this truth is yours. So what is truly mine? The truth in you, the sanity in you. And if I perceive errors, it's really errors on you, not errors in you. In you is your inner rightness, the truth that is in you, the sanity that is in you, the joy that is in you, that's joined with the joy in me. That's true about us both. But if I project fear upon you, it's going to take the form of error, and I could be misled into thinking that you're making errors. So when where am I? His errors do not come from the truth that is in him. That is my brother, my divine sibling. The truth that is in them, that's what they are. And only this truth is yours. So any errors that seem to be on top of that, the fear I projected on them taking that form, that's not who they are. That's who I am pretending they are in the fantasy. And so more and more I can look through that, knowing it's meaningless, and see who they are. Okay, paragraph 7. Your brother's errors are not of him. any more than yours are of you. Accept his errors as real, and you have attacked yourself. If you would find your way and keep it, see only truth beside you, for you walk together. The Holy Spirit in you forgives all things in you and in your brother. His errors are forgiven with yours. Atonement is no more separate than love. Atonement cannot be separate because it comes from love. Any attempt you make to correct a brother means that you believe correction by you is possible. And this can only be the arrogance of the ego. Correction is of God, who does not know of arrogance. So back to, if you would find your way and keep it, see only truth beside you, for you walk together. So we're always walking with our divine siblings, with our brothers and sisters, and what joins us as we walk together? Truth. Beyond that, guidance can tell us anything that we need to say or do. So you really get to this know-nothing place where, it seems as we understand we need correction in the mind, we're still relying on the ego a lot. And that means we are analyzing and judging and being arrogant toward all our divine siblings because we're doing it to ourselves too. But as we really see and appreciate the deep truth of our oneness, that we walk together with truth beside us and the errors are only imagined, then we rely on the ego less, but we're still doing it. Still, that arrogance is in play. We're still slicing and dicing and separating us, and then less, and then less, and then less. And then it becomes really, really important to see through the whole thing, to let the entire error go. And that's where atonement is. That's the remedy. And any remaining dependence on ego I have is like the refusal to allow the atonement. So if I feel frustrated with my brother, what I'm really feeling is my refusal to allow the remedy that would help us both. So this is, finally becoming really clear to me. Okay, paragraph 8. The Holy Spirit forgives everything because God created everything. Do not undertake his function, or you will forget yours. Accept only the function of healing in time, because that is what time is for. So what is our function? Healing in time. God gave you the function to create in eternity. You do not need to learn that, but you do need to learn to want it. For that all learning was made. This is the Holy Spirit's use of an ability that you do not need, but that you made. So we made the ability of learning, and now Holy Spirit's going to use it to help us. Give it to him. You do not understand how to use it. He will teach you how to see yourself without condemnation by learning how to look on everything without it. Condemnation will then not be real to you, and all your errors will be forgiven. So, going back to, Holy Spirit, will teach you how to see yourself without condemnation by learning how to look on everything without it. Everything. And when I'm feeling not good, I am condemning. I'm looking on someone or something with condemnation, which is what I taught myself. That was the learning I invented, ego's learning, which I never needed, but it's okay, because Holy Spirit's going to use that learning. And for the function of healing in time, Holy Spirit's going to teach me how to look upon everyone and everything without condemnation. And that's how I'm going to learn to see myself that way. And then all the errors I believe I've made, including projecting fear on my brothers and seeing them in error, all of that's going to be forgiven or seen through. And the only thing left to see is what's actually here. Sanity, truth, grace, love, forever. So that's what we have to learn today. And when I don't feel good, I'm looking on someone or something with condemnation, and I need help. So in that moment, I can go in to get reoriented toward it is really the sanity within everyone and everything that I can acknowledge and remind myself of. This is the core, the joined core of everyone and everything that's here now. And knowing nothing, I can rely on this shared sanity. This shared sanity and truth and love and grace can supply any thought for any necessary sayings or doings. So that is what I can look toward today. Okay, thanks.